I was at a party. We were all hanging out. It was a party, okay, at someone's house, really pretty place. And I did not quite know what it was. And I thought, yeah, let me try some. And I think it was like in a little cup. You drank something, I think is what we did. So I drank the little cup, and then there was some extra. So I had some extra. So after a while, I'm sitting on the couch and everything started to move. Reality shifted.
Welcome back to the Blue Dragon Healing Podcast. Today we have with us Audrey Arbe. She is a clairvoyant, an artist, a healer, and author who connects with higher realms to offer insight and guidance. Through her art, writing, and shamanic guided meditations. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thank you, Bjorn. That was an amazing intro.
Live up to it now.
I'm 82 and have energy, smile, dance.
You're in Costa Rica at the moment, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Puerto Rico.
And how long has that been your home?
I've been in Costa Rica now for over a year and a half, not quite 2 years.
And what brought you there?
I found out that the owner of the condo where I was living was going to sell it. This was not the good news to me at the time because that meant, OMG, I have to look for a new place. I'm a psychic, so I tune in. And I was shown, surprise, surprise, this is your opportunity to create a whole new aspect of life. I never intended to stay in that place for my whole life. That was not my plan. I didn't expect to have to arbitrarily leave it. So I like multicultural. I love warm. I mean, I'm a July baby. I'd heard of the blue zones. To people, the blue zones are where tend to live longer, maybe 100 years, give or take. So I thought, well, I'm turning 80. This makes sense. So the ones in the States didn't interest me. They went, okay to me. I'm not saying they were, but to me, okay, I wanted interesting. I'm turning 80. It's a whole new phase. So I saw there was one in Costa Rica. I thought, I have not been there. And so I investigated Costa Rica. I went there first because I'm not going to move somewhere without checking it out. I found 2 places and rented one in the multicultural area. I've been in that same area now for almost 2 years. But on a deeper level, because it was time for something different. I needed something different. I've lived in Manhattan for most of my adult life. Completely different than here.
How is it different?
I can't wear the shoes I wore in the city. There's no way. I would ruin them in 2 minutes because I wear sandals and I need new ones. And I'm going to be getting a pair. I want to get 2 pairs. And I wear them everywhere. Even in the water. I dress more casually here. And in New York, one can dress very casually, kind of on the streets. But when we go out, and people in here, they go out, you're dressed up. I don't dress up in quite the same way I did in the city. I don't wear heels like this that I did in the heel. I actually have a few pairs. I haven't worn them once, not once. Okay. And it's just different, the energy in Costa Rica. And I'm in the African Caribbean side in a town called Puerto Viejo, which means old port. It's one of those places people visit. And I rented a place. And the energy here is much more laid back. People say pura vida, which means pure life. It is integrated into the cultural vibration of the people. And I like that.
You are a clairvoyant. Is that something that's been with you your whole life?
I'm made this way since I'm little. I laugh at that because I'm 4'10" and a smidge. So everyone thinks I'm little. You're little. So it's all a perspective. But there's stuff I simply know. I always have. I can't always give an explanation. I was born in Brooklyn, and I used to sit on the stoop and look at the people that passed by. We moved when I turned 8, so I was 7 or less when I was doing this. And I would look at the people and wondered what they did to themselves. Why were they like that? I could feel their energy. I could feel their faces. I didn't talk to them. I was a kid. I didn't know them. But there was no way I couldn't feel them and sense them. And I wondered what they did. I made a vow to myself that whatever they had done, I was never going to do that, because I saw people on some of, we called them bridge chairs at the time. So if I moved away when I was 7, oh God. So this would mean I'm born in 1942. So that would have been around 1949. Go figure history at that time. And there'd be people sitting there with like this blank look in their eyes, scared the daylights out of me. Okay. I didn't know who was home or not home. And I vowed I was going to deal with life as it happened.
To actually go to the trouble to make a vow, something interesting might have happened.
I saw these looks and I looked at them and then I looked away because it was scary to me. I was a child. It was terrifying. And the 1940s, okay, was at some point the Second World War. The Nazis, okay, this is many of you ancient history, but it's my beginning. Okay, and I was a kid in Brooklyn from a Jewish background, white Jewish background. Not like we were so Jewish, and I'm not like, I am not religious, I'm spiritual. And I'd see these dead looking eyes scared the daylights out of me. And I just said no. And I would hear my parents talk about certain things going on over there, and the relatives coming over here. It was scary. And when I read bits and pieces of what Nazis were, scared the daylights out of me. The worst thing I could say about anyone is still that they're Nazistic. That is the worst I can say. So I don't know that it was a particular thing. It was a confluence of what was going on at the time. And I decided I was going to be whatever I was going to be, because I had no clue what I was. It was not going to be that deadness. And what I knew, and I knew this, that meant I had to deal with stuff as it happened and not shove it under the rug and pretend it's not there.
So where did that lead you?
I'm the firstborn of 3. My brother was the youngest, and I'm 5 years his senior. And there were times I saw my mother being what now I would call inconsistent with some of her behavior to him. And I knew that was not a good thing, that it would lead to confusion. So in my zeal to be helpful, I told her. She got mad at me. She did what we would now call invalidating me. Like, what would you know? You're just a kid. And I knew right off the bat that there were people who just did not want to learn certain things. Not everyone wants to grow or evolve. So I learned I didn't really fit into the regular world because my family did not always understand the way I spoke. I was told when I asked certain things, which now I understand was probably quantum physics. And my mother told me, nobody asks these questions, nobody knows. And I thought, in my little arrogant way, you don't ask and you don't know. I'm going to find out. So I'm not Nassim Haramein. And if you really want to know quantum physics, look this man up. Nassim Haramein. He is a genius. And I read and follow some of what he speaks on. I'm not saying I understand each part, but I'm blessed with an actual working brain and a whole lot of intuition so I can feel it. And I know we have possibility that as a species, we've never yet in this form realized.
So-
I did not always pay attention at school. I would talk, I'd look out the window, and I would follow my own impulses. When I was older, I would study on my own. I would make my own ideas. I still do. And did it always fit into the families? No. No. And was that an issue? It could have been. Am I over it now? Yeah, because some people are where they are. And at this point, I don't make a fight about it. I have a new podcast that's called Moving Forward with Audrey Now. Very beginning. It's Wednesdays at 12 noon Costa Rica time, 1 o'clock New York time. I'm on, this is the only thing I so far know how to do. Okay. I'm on Facebook Live. When I get so I know how to do all the other stuff, I will do that. And it's about healing and growth. Anyway, so the guides told me, because I felt decimated, that the way to come through it, we were at a healing time now, was to give little bites of information, let it get digested, go slow, and then a little more. Now, astrologically, I have an Aries ascendant, which means when I want to move, I go fast. And that was not the way. We had to go slow to be able to heal. So I get that. So that's the phase we're still in right now. People who think, no, hurry up, go fast, they're missing the point because they're not doing the internal healing. And if people don't do the internal healing, they're going to miss it.
Well, let's circle back. You mentioned that you were in school and it wasn't
Yeah.
really jiving with you. You were not paying much
Yeah.
attention, right? And then eventually school finished and you started following more of your own ideas. Where do you remember that taking you in the beginning?
Well, I did go to college because I didn't know what else I could do. I had
Mm,
no idea. I
okay.
certainly didn't. I could go on my own. This
And what
was
was
a
that
whole
like?
other. I hated it. Well, I studied English, so I
Mhm.
wanted to be a writer. This was the teacher's college. I don't know how to say this nicely. I was bored. I had a couple of really good professors, then I was interested. But if it was just blatterty, blatterty, blah, my mind would wander. Just learning more about life than that kind of thing. And it was when I finally moved to New York City when I was 22, 23, whatever that was, and was really on my own
Hmm.
and got to meet people of different backgrounds, different colors, different this, different that, different genders. And I met that when I was like 23, 24. So how old would that be? 1942 and 23. Go figure, 60s.
Mhm.
So in the 60s, I came of age.
Hmm.
And that was extremely interesting because it was chaos in the United States.
So you came of age in your 20s and you moved to New York City and you started meeting more diverse groups of people. Do you feel like that opened up your doors of perception more?
A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I got to know a whole lot of different viewpoints. I got to know it from the actual people. It wasn't some book. I got to know it from interactions with human beings. I got to know it from living in the 60s, okay, dancing to the music, experimenting with various whatnot and hoo ha in what I thought was a healthful way because I was not going to destroy this, okay? Did I experiment with various stuff? Yes. Are
Ah,
they now using them as plant medicine, which then was like, ugh. Okay, yes, they are, okay? And I did a little bit of experimenting.
tell me about your experiences with the experimenting that you did. Did you do LSD?
I did.
What was that like for you, especially having an orientation of a mystical nature and energetically so affected? It'd be interesting to see what
I'm
it was like
open.
for you.
I was at a party. We were all hanging out. It was a party, okay, at someone's house, really pretty place. And I did not quite know what it was. And I thought, yeah, let me try some. And I think it was like in a little cup. You drank something, I think is what we did. So I drank the little cup, and then there was some extra. So I had some extra. So I had some extra. So after a while, I'm sitting on the couch and everything started to move. Reality shifted. Like now I'm looking at the. Have you ever done this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now I'm looking at my what is this thing? My laptop. Okay, at your adorable face. Okay, and it's not moving. It's well, but then reality, like it moves. Not thinking the hands went into, and then at a certain point, whatever I thought I was looking at that I could recognize from whatever it might have been was not that. I don't know what the heck it was. What said this whole other realm of whatever the heck I was into, and other people just talking. I didn't know what they were saying. And so I'm getting into whatever it was the quote unquote trip was about. And I was being shown from my perspective what life is and what they were basically telling me. And I ended up screaming because I didn't like this, what that life was meaningless.
Hmm.
And I am somebody who looks for meaning.
Hmm.
I'm not someone who lives where everything, I mean, Landmark will say life is empty and meaningless, and it's empty and meaningless, that it's empty and meaningless. I actually like that. It gives me power. Okay. But that life is meaningless, that's not how I look at things. I feel we have great potential here. And when in that thing it said it was meaningless, I scream. I don't know what I actually did. Okay. But to
Okay.
me, scream, no. Okay. Do I know if I did that? I don't know, because I was on the couch and I couldn't walk because, stuff was happening.
Hmm.
And apparently I had a heck of a trip. And when I came out of it, which took a while, this isn't some quickie deal. And after a while, I had to walk home because I didn't live in this place.
Yeah.
And I was like this, okay? And there were police and there's this, it's the 60s. And I want to walk straight. You don't walk straight after this. I have to tell you, you don't. And this was the first thing I had ever done. I'd never done what these days is called weed. I'd never done anything.
So you walked home after you had the experience because it wasn't your home, and you had
No, it was, yeah, and I had to go home, and I did my best to walk like a straight line, which I don't know what I did. But I learned reality is not what we think it is.
So
It's
would you
beyond
say
different.
that experience with the LSD helped to shape your life in a way? Like, it helped you to observe part of yourself and your own consciousness in a way that you hadn't experienced before, and maybe open the
Yes,
doors of perception a little bit wider for you?
yes. I would recommend, by the way, that people have a guide. I would recommend you don't do it at a party where everybody's doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm brand new and I'm 23 and don't know jack about any of this. Okay. And I'm not a drinker. I'm not a drug taker, just so you know, that's not my thing.
No worries about that. We're just focusing
No,
on you right
but
now,
yes,
on your experience, yeah.
yes, we don't. Yes, 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 yes. This stuff is very effective.
After you had that
Go ahead.
experience and it opened you up more,
Yes.
where did things evolve from there? What was next on your journey?
I don't know if I remember what was next,
Mhm.
because I'm not 23 or 4
Right,
anymore.
and we don't have time to go through your entire life.
Okay, so there were a few other explorations because this was the time of it.
Mhm.
And I studied with shamans,
Hmm,
and I definitely
really?
studied with shamans. I studied with shamans from Africa. I studied with shamans from South America. I didn't have the finances to actually go there, which I wanted to. They
Mhm.
came to where I was. I studied with shamans from the United States, so black shamans, Tico shamans, white shamans,
Wow.
shamans like that. Hey, honey, I got that. Okay. So I've studied with that, and I have a natural ability for it, whatever that it is.
Mhm.
I am made that way. So that's another reason Costa Rica and I are a kind of good match in a lot of ways. And I began to grow. And because I was a young lady, I learned more about my own, quite frankly, sexuality, because I'd been a virgin. I didn't know that. Okay. And I'm simple. I'm a she, her. But I liked black people then, and that was not necessarily, and I'm a white woman, and that was not necessarily the thing to be at the time.
You mentioned that you'd
So,
studied with, several groups of shamans. Was there
yes,
a particular group of shamans that really resonated with you, and what was it about it that with the experience that you really enjoyed?
I loved what they were teaching. This all seemed normal to me. I love this stuff. And I've studied with people who are considered famous. And the names are now, I'd have to kind of find them, that have written books that people know who they are. They're like hoo-has. And I've studied with a few of them. And I remember one, his name will come to me. Everybody knows him. We met when I was signing into whatever his thing was. And he looked at me And he said, "You're a shaman." I said, "I'm a psychic." He said, "You're a shaman." I said, "I'm a psychic." And then we both started laughing. And he said, "It's the same thing. At a certain point, it all meets. If somebody is at a certain level, it's like I met somebody who did Wicca, and it was at a store. And they said they dealt with high witchcraft. And I said, I didn't really deal with that. I was a healer. And we talked. They said, no, no. They said, you're a high witch. You deal with energy frequencies, which I do, and stuff like that. That's what a high witch does. Now, do I know that? Not from that avenue. But at a certain point, any of these spiritual aspects that really are, we all meet. It's like metaphysics and physics are meeting. They're not separate. And a lot of people now, I don't know how many, so I can't give you a count, are very concerned about what's going on the world in the world. So am I. And what people don't always remember, they have not been taught, is that we really, really have a lot to do with what on life is. What is one's attitude? What is one's belief system? How does one handle oneself? Does one love oneself? I have courses on that.
Okay.
And if they don't, they're not going to have the life they want. You just won't.
Well, Audrey, when you did the work with the shamans, was
Yes.
there any particular traditions that they taught you or specific practices that you had not experienced before that stand out to you that you really enjoyed?
I like the guys from South America. Just some of their vibration and energy and how they would discuss what some of this was. And it made a lot of sense. I remember one of them, we were in a circle and our eyes were closed. And I don't remember if the lights were on or if I had no idea. And at a certain point, I felt somebody touching my shoulder. So I'm like this. And nobody touched my shoulder. It was the energy and the frequencies there. And whatever they call them, the guides. So the mere fact that I could be somewhere and feel someone, and I know if somebody touches me or doesn't touch me, I'm a woman, believe me, I know, okay? And someone's touching me, and there's nobody there, and that happened, I think, twice. That impressed the daylights out of me. I would not know how to make that happen. And that happened in various of these circumstances. So whatever this is, I think I have a natural affinity for it. And would I like to study more? Yes, I actually would like to study more and deeper, and what I call in a safe way. Okay, not like what I did in that apartment years back. Not like that. Okay, because there are. And there's a lot of quote unquote plant medicines, which I'm not going to list anything I ever sampled. I don't think that's important here. But yes, I've sampled a few, not everything, but a few.
Mm-hmm.
And do they make a difference? Yes, depending on who your guide is and what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And do you pay attention? And do you release or do the work when you see, oh my God, I have a barf over mother-father issues? Am I going to do something to heal them? If a person says yes and does something to heal it, they move forward. If they go, yeah, I don't want to, they won't.
All right.
And
So
that's just reality.
let's circle back then. You did some study with the shamans. When did you get into the art creation side of what you do now?
I was at my ex. My ex was a jazz musician. And I'm not going to go into that whole thing. And I began doodling on a piece of paper and discovered I'm drawing stuff. And at the time, I was a meditator, so I definitely did ohms, ohm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, om. And so I began making these drawings, which I have them somewhere, some of them. Anyway, with ohm, so I called them ohm art. I made notebooks of them because they were just pouring out of me. They end up being the pictures that are in my book here. These are some of them.
Huh.
So I was doing that. Look at how cute. Okay. A fat cat. Okay. So I'm doing these things because it's pouring out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, I was waiting for him to finish whatever it was. And then I just began doing it at home because I loved it. It was fun.
Did you have a ritual that you would do?
I don't know that I had a ritual, but if I was bored
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to do something creative, I would make these. I have about 2 notebooks full of them, of a certain kind of paper. It's Lokta, Lokta paper from, I believe it's Nepal, and it's from a bush called the Lokta bush, Lokta, which grows very fast. So I figured it's more environmental. I've been an environmentalist for years and years and years and years and years. Better than regular paper, like this book. This is my one book in print. This is printed on 100% post-consumer recycled paper. Did I pay more to get that done? Yes, I did. Okay, but we saved 8 trees. And now the book, I only have a few more of those left. And now the book is strictly online. But yeah, I began drawing. And then at a certain point, it dawned on me, add color. Well, that scared the daylights out of me because it's a very different thing to do black and white and look at perspectives and slants. But I like color. Okay. Color.
Yeah. So when you started adding color, what were you using at first, like for tools?
I was using gel pens.
Gel pens, really? And so you just started just sort of filling it in and seeing kind of where it took you?
I met other people. They were artists. And one artist said, you need to paint. And I looked at him. I said, I don't have any paint. I don't have any canvases. He gave me small canvases, a little thing of paint. And a woman said, use her studio. So the way I did it was I'd meditate. This was my process. And when I was in my space, I would make an Om and let it take me wherever it took me. I make.
I love that. That's awesome. Oh, fantastic.
Okay. And I would turn this was before I was painting on 5 feet by 4 feet, which I can't turn around. I'm 4'10". So it's hard for me to do any of that. Okay. That's just the whole reality for me. I began adding color. It was like, whoa, look at this. I love color. They just began evolving. So I called it Audrey Om Art because it started with an Om, art that opens the heart. That was the intention.
Nice. I like that. It rhymed. Were you still in New York at the time, or had you already moved somewhere beyond
No,
there?
I was in Florida. I think I was in Florida at the time. And I set up. How I did this. Okay. I set up this little room that was like where I had my laptop and other stuff and whatever was shoved in there. And I'd gotten an easel that I opened to the top. Okay. And I had to put a chair behind it so it would stay stable. And I bought canvases that I needed help to transport because they were bigger than I am. They were 5 feet by 4 feet, and I'm 4'10", so I can't carry them. And I set it up on the easel, which they had to be with, I think, cone zip ties, something like that, so the thing wouldn't fall over.
Sure.
And I began painting. And smaller ones, but I love painting big. I love painting big.
And that's become one of the major focal points of your work even today, hasn't it?
I have at least 6 large paintings that are still available. They're in Florida. People, do yourselves a favor and find where they are. I'll tell you where they are. And yeah, and I'm willing to have somebody buy at a reasonable price. And now I'm doing rocks.
If you would be interested in doing a short guided meditation that we can drop into the space right now, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes max.
Okay. So I have to take this out. Okay. Reason I take this out is I can feel the metal in this thing when I start lifting my frequency, and it's like, so we're going to do, because I can feel it, it's annoying. So we're going to do a short version of the lifting process. I learned this from a healer named Patricia Hayes when I was studying with her, not Louise Hay, a different person. And so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to do a short energy transfer. I'm a healer, so I'm going to send energy, and I recommend you say yes to receive it. You don't have to, it's your choice. But to reject healing to me is silly, but we're all who we are. And then after we do that, I'm going to have you say to yourself, or just listen to me say it. You're getting higher and higher, lighter and lighter, freer and freer. And then I'm going to let you float in the vibration that you are. I'm going to be quiet. And then you're going to float. And then I'm going to bring you forward. And then once you can speak again, because you'll be in a slightly altered state, very natural. Okay, no substances, natural. And then we'll see how you feel. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to take a moment and lift my energy. This, by the way, is water. And I'm getting my water machine fixed when I go to the States, hopefully. I mean, I'm going and hopefully they'll fix it. Oh. Breathe white light into your heart. Fill up with the light. Know that you're protected, you're blessed, and you're safe. Breathe in golden light into your whole energetic frequency situation. Know that you're uplifted, you're being taken care of, and you're prosperous and abundant. Now breathe in silver light surrounding everything. You are protected in every way possible. And now, quietly, allow yourself to get higher and higher, lighter and lighter, freer and freer. You are safe. You are blessed. You are protected. You are evolving. And you're higher, lighter, freer. Higher, higher, lighter, freer. You are safe. You are magnificent. Now I shall be silent and allow you to enjoy your space. And in a few moments, I shall bring you forward. You allow yourself to appreciate whatever is going on with you. Now, keeping your eyes closed, as you feel ready, you may gently begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. You may gently begin to move your hands on your wrists, your feet on your ankles. As you feel ready, you may begin to sway or move or pat your body. Now, when your head is relaxed and upright on your neck, and you feel ready, you may gently begin to open your eyes. And when you can speak, please share how you feel.
Oh,
Hope.
I feel good. I dropped into my space of being and have been observing areas of tension within my body that revealed themselves to me.
Send the light there.
Very nice. Thank you.
Welcome. I know what some of it is. It's fear. Some of it is fear, and the rest I don't want to get into. I did a little bit of work, but since I didn't ask permission, I didn't want to do more because I can I can do stuff.
It is
I don't mean
fear.
I, the ego. I mean me, the healer, the higher being person.
It's mainly fear because I've been purging a lot of fear through my body, and it's been releasing, a lot of charge. So that's
Okay.
what comes up, and then shame
Okay.
and some
So,
anger.
yeah. Well, it doesn't help you in any way to hold on to any of that, which I know you know. It doesn't help any of us. Once we learn whatever the lesson is, the wisdom teaching, when we learn that, we can let go of that circumstance and those feelings because it's unnecessary. People don't have this whole concept that some people have that you have to suffer. I have a different concept. I don't believe we have to suffer. There's enough that comes along with certain things in life that we don't need to look for what to suffer about. It doesn't make someone more spiritual to suffer. That's a misnomer. Okay. Or to not, by the way, to avoid it. That's also inappropriate. We have to go through our feelings and release them and connect them, and just it's a whole thing. Okay. But yeah, so you're feeling, how are you feeling now?
Good.
Good. This was a very short lifting process. When people do this regularly, and that means daily, or whatever regularly might mean for someone, I do it daily. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but pretty much daily. And until I do it, to me, the day hasn't officially started. And do I always want to do it? No, I don't. But I have to, because that's what helps key me to what I am.
Audrey, if people want to check more of your work, would you direct them to a particular place?
Yeah, my website is still being updated. I'm not sure if it'll ever get done,
Okay.
but it's AudryeNOW.com. I have art, I have books, I have courses, I have me. Okay, I am someone who does do readings and healings, and you'll know it's me because you'll see this face. If it's not this face or something that's like this hair, it's not me. Don't listen to them. Okay, this is how I look. And yes, you'll see a younger looking me on the website, but this is the current version of me. And I love doing work. And I'm willing to work out whatever kind of payments are appropriate.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time to share about your journey with us and your work. And we'll include a link to your website in the show notes for the episode when it is published.
Okay. Thank you.